What's up, everybody? J Heat Sports Media coming at y'all again with that fire as always. Spitting the hot topics and getting the sports conversation started. Y'all know what I'm talking about: football, basketball, and boxing. All right, the subject is basketball. LeBron James recently made some comments asking about who would be the face of the league and who should be the face of the league. Should anybody even want to be the face of the league? And LeBron James, he's going to get a lot of flack for his answer because he's LeBron James first and foremost. But also because his answer kind of, I think, will ruffle some feathers of the media and fans. He said basically, and I'm paraphrasing, why would anybody want to be the face of the league? Reason being, because all the media pundits, the people who speak on the league, they shit on everybody. That was what he said. In other words, the media has become so critical of the NBA, the game itself, and the players playing, that's a lot to ask for somebody to take the brunt of that as the face of the league. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. And I can see he's probably speaking from experience. He's been the face of the league for 20 years pretty much. And it's been a rough carrying of the torch, if you will. Heavy is the head that carries the crown, as they say, if I'm saying that phrase correctly. It's a tough task. I do think that the game getting the criticism it gets right now, the NBA is seen by many to be on a downturn. Ratings have been down. You know, they talked about how they keep trying to fix All-Star Weekend. And a lot of people point to the rules that make it a league where people feel defense is lacking and it's soft, for lack of better terms. Now, I'm one that sees both sides of it, in my opinion. I think the game's in a great place right now overall, but I do see areas for improvement. Do I think back in the day, it's always better back in my day is how people see it. And I will say, I think that the media being hard on it, the media, they do things and cater to ratings because that's what they have to do to stay in business. And so they're going to go on the pulse of the fans too. Now in some ways, they dictate the pulse of the fans too. It's a symbiotic relationship. It goes back and forth, because the media has an influence on how the fans feel, but the media also caters to what the fans are saying or what they are hearing and what they feel as fans themselves, because let's face it, some media, lots of media, most media, they're fans too. So people like things back in their day. People don't like change, and people always will say, you know, things were better back when. That's been the case with sports across multiple sports, not just the NBA. But LeBron being critical of the media, it's going to be funny to see how media pundits are critical of him. I expect them to say, you know, he's soft, he's being unfair, he's not considering how the game has been messed up by players and their effort, their lack of play, taking games off, load management, etc., not showing up to play in the All-Star game, because there's a lot of things you can throw out there. But hopefully they acknowledge that he has some good points too, because otherwise that'll show that they as media can't take criticism. Because truthfully, LeBron James, he has a few points. They've been overly critical of him throughout his career personally, because of the fact that he has been compared so closely to Michael Jordan. And he's done such a good job of placing himself in that conversation to where it's a legitimate convo that the heat is increased. It always was like that. Kobe faced a little bit of that criticism too. But he was able to not quite get as much heat as LeBron, because I don't think anybody ever thought Kobe was truly better than Mike. Not really. Because he was so much like Mike, it was easy to point to the ways in which Mike was better to many. Not going to say all, because there are some of the newer generation that would say Kobe was better than Mike. But all in all, not the case. With LeBron James, there's more of a groundswell from people that think he is as good or better than Mike, and he's a little different of a player than Mike, so it brings in more conversations. And he's gotten a lot of criticism for it. Every time he fails or doesn't do something right, he's under a microscope. Anytime he makes a comment, he's under a microscope, and he's more public when it comes to his speaking, willing to speak out on issues outside of basketball, let alone basketball itself, which opens him up to criticism. And he's aware of that, but that's part of the game and what it is. But I think we need to do a deep dive and listen to a guy of his caliber, of his intellect, his IQ for the game, not only playing it, but as a watcher and an observer of the game. And think about some of the things he's saying and maybe make some adjustments. That's my personal opinion. I do think that there's some responsibility to go on the player side and the league side for how the rules, maybe they could be tweaked a little bit. But do I want to go back to the 90s and 80s of guys grabbing on guys and hand checking? Not really. If you go back and look at those games really, truly with a critical eye, I don't think it was great basketball. It was good basketball, but it can be improved. There's things about today's game that are better and things about the game back then that was better. So, if we can find a medium somewhere in between, I think that's where we want to be. And people should want to be the face of the league, but I agree with LeBron. It's a big burden to carry. Right now, they don't even want to give the face of the league to a European or overseas player, even though the game has gone in that direction. It's all about, it has to be a guy from the U.S. That's criticism within itself, because you got guys who they could market better that are players from overseas that they don't do that for. So that's part of what we got to do as media and what we have to be willing to acknowledge as fans. So we got to look in the mirror when LeBron says things like this, but also LeBron, be prepared. The criticism is coming. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know who you're looking for. J Heat Sports Media. Remember to like, subscribe, or get at me in the comments. Find me on YouTube, Instagram, X, and TikTok.